Today we are going to talk about the Beatitudes. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Beatitudes of Jesus. There were some sayings of Jesus that starts with blessed are the meek, that they shall inherit the earth and all that. So this is in regards to one of the tablets of Bahai, one of our dear friends that I don't see today. He brought it up last time. It's the Lawh-i-Aqdas, the most holy tablet. And it's one of the tablets revealed after the Kitab-i-Aqdas, the most holy book. So it was revealed in Akka. There is no exact date when it was revealed, but it was to the Christian audience, especially Christian clergies. So Baha'u'llah revealed this tablet, and there are some similarities between this tablet and this Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. And I thought that was interesting. So this was, you remember in the book of John, Jesus said, I have yet many things to say unto you, but ye cannot bear them now. Howbeit, when he, the Spirit of truth, is come, he will guide you into all truth. For he shall not speak of himself, but whatsoever he shall hear. So he's gonna have a mouth so he can speak, an ear. So it's talking about the person and not the Holy Spirit. That he shall speak, and he will show you things to come. He again shall glorify me, and he shall receive of mine, and shall show it unto you. All things that the Father has are mine, therefore said I, that he shall take of mine, and shall show you it unto you. So let's keep these in mind. It's going to start building up a little bit on each other. In the book of Revelation, St. John the Divine, he's having visions from Jesus, and he's recording them in the island of Patmos. So the seventh book of Revelation, Jesus says, they shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne, Lamb being the promised one, which is in the midst of the throne, shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of water, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. Baha'u'llah, the fulfillment of the Lamb. Lamb, the sacrificial lamb that used to be under the Old Testament, was the law. Once a year they sacrificed a lamb, and then Jesus came. He was the perfect lamb, and he sacrificed himself. By that he fulfilled the law and cleansed all sins. So Baha'u'llah, being the fulfillment of this prophecy in book of Revelation, says, unto this beareth witness he, Baha'u'llah, from whose pen rivers of mercy have flowed, and from whose utterance fountains of living waters has streamed forth unto all created things. This in the book of Isaiah, another prophecy, and many people shall go and say, come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, and he will teach us of his way, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion, today's Israel roughly, shall go forth the law and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. The law and the word. Baha'u'llah says the promises of God, as recorded in the Holy Scriptures, have all been fulfilled. Out of Zion has gone forth the law of God, and Jerusalem, and the hills and land thereof are filled with the glory of his revelation. So he's the fulfillment of many, many, many prophecies. we'll get back to this one. We'll skip over that one. So this is I'm going to show some similarities between what the Anointed One, Christ, Jesus, said on the Sermon of the Mount, which is recorded in the 5th book of Matthew. It's basically 8 statements that have condition and result. So the condition is if you are this, the result will be this. So there is a rhythm to it. In the book of Luke, only 4 of them are recorded. Now Jesus may have had said more than these 8 statements. As you know, these were taken down at the earliest 10, 15 years, sometimes 60 years after his crucifixion. So based on their memories, they wrote down what they remembered. So Jesus said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." Some translations say just "Blessed are the poor." So the condition was, if you are poor in spirit, and the result is yours is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Now, remember the 5th one says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." This was also mentioned by King David 1,000 years before Jesus. And King David said, "But the meek shall inherit the earth and shall delight themselves in the abundance of peace," which to this day it hasn't happened yet. So, and in the Quran, there is a reference to this very same verse that says, "And certainly we wrote in the book," and we'll talk about this in a second, after the reminder that my righteous servants will inherit the earth. So that verse from the Quran is actually a prophecy for the Bahai faith. So let's dissect that verse. It's in the Quran that says, "And certainly we wrote in the book." Now, in the original Quran, the book is as Zabur. Zabur is the book of Psalm. So they should have translated this correctly, but most of the time the Quranic translators don't translate them accurately. That's why you have so many different translations. And that's why Muslims are encouraged to learn Arabic so they can study the Quran properly. We wrote in the book of Psalms after the reminder that my righteous servants will inherit the earth. The reminder in the original Arabic, al-Zikr. Zikr was the title of the Bab. And Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah was the most great remembrance. The Bab was remembrance. Reminder, remembrance. So the reminder, it's very specific. So how do you read this? And certainly we wrote in the book of Psalms that after the remembrance, that my righteous servants will inherit the earth. You guys have inherited the earth. So in the book of Psalm again, what man is he that feareth the Lord? Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose. His soul shall dwell at ease, and his seed shall inherit the earth. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, and he will show them his covenant. So, book of Psalm, 1,000 years before Jesus. Jesus, 1,800 some years before Baha'u'llah, is actually talking about the Kitabi Ahdi, the book of my covenant. And this is the prophecy, his covenant. So, that same verse in the Quran, and here is Baha'u'llah, the fulfillment. Let your reliance be on the remembrance of God. He will, before long, bring to naught all the things ye possess. Let him be your fear, and forget not his covenant with you, and be not of them that are shut out as by a veil from him. There are many things like this in the Bahai revelation. For somebody that was never tutored or educated in any kind of holy books or theology, it's incredible that how he brings all these prophecies into fulfillment. So we continue with the Beatitudes, those verses from Jesus. The condition and the result. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when they revile and persecute you and say all kinds of evil against you falsely for my sake. It's happened to a small scale from the inception of the faith, 1844, until now. This is going to happen on a very vast international level very soon. When exactly, I don't know. But they will persecute you. And like Jesus said, they will kill you in my name. And it is coming. As you see, things happen, are very fluid, things happen very fast, and anybody that talks about world peace, new world order, will be the target of persecution, including Baha'is. Blessed are those who are persecuted for the righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. This was the 10th verse. So let's see where we see that one again. Again, this one was the same verse in the Quran. The righteousness, my righteous servants will inherit the earth. So the Quran has this one reference to Beatitudes, to those verses from Jesus. Now, if you put the Beatitudes recorded from Jesus on the left, in the purple color of Christianity, and the blue favorite color of Baha'u'llah. If you put the Beatitudes of Baha'u'llah in this most great, in this tablet of the most holy tablet, you can see it's 3 times larger than the original recorded one. But that doesn't mean that's all Jesus said. However, this is a part of that most holy tablet, Lawh-i-Aqdas. If you go to the reference Baha'i library, at the bottom, under Baha'u'llah's name, there is a link that says tablets revealed after the Kitab-i-Aqdas. If you click on that, it's the second tablet after Lawh-i-Carmel, the tablet of Carmel. So you can read it in fullness. So the Quran says, and indeed Jesus will be a sign for the knowledge of the hour. So be not in doubt of it and follow me. This is the straight path. So the Quran is very clearly prophesying not the return of Muhammad, but the return of Jesus also. So all sects of Islam, they are waiting for the return of Christ, based on that verse. And Baha'u'llah says, only those will attain to the knowledge of the word of God that have turned unto him and repudiated the manifestations of Satan. In the Lawh-i-Aqdas, the most holy tablet, Baha'u'llah says, the hour which we had concealed from the knowledge of the peoples of the earth and of the favored angels has come to pass. It's fulfilled now. This is a very beautiful paragraph from the same Lawh-i-Aqdas, most holy tablet. Baha'u'llah says, the river Jordan is joined to the most great ocean, and the sun, the capital S, in the holy veil, Jesus, that's the Son, Jesus, in the holy veil, crieth out, in the holy valley, we get to it in a second, crieth out, here am I, O Lord my God, while Sinai circleth round the house, and the burning bush calleth aloud, He who is the desired one is come in his transcendent majesty. So let's dissect this a little bit. So therefore, when Jesus, in the book of Hebrews, Apostle Paul wrote, when Christ came into the world, he said, sacrifice and offering you did not desire, but a body you prepared for me, body of Jesus, with burnt offerings and sin offerings you were not pleased. Then I said, here I am. It is written about me in the scroll. This was prophesied by King David also in the book of Psalm. I have come to do your will, my God. So Christ voluntarily besought martyrdom on the cross. And in the book of Haggai, in the Old Testament, Haggai was, as you know, a minor prophet, a Jewish minor prophet. I will shake all nations, and what is desired by all nations will come. So, as you see, in the Baha'u'llah says, who is the desired one is come in his transcendent majesty. This was also prophesied in the book of Haggai, when Haggai said, I will shake all nations, and what is desired by all nations will come. Lots of things are not translated accurately from Hebrew into Greek and then eventually English, but that desired by all nations is the promised one, which we believe to be Baha'u'llah, will come, and I will fill this house with glory. This house, Haggai was the prophet at the time of the rebuilding of the second temple, King Darius. So he is prophesying the glory of God filling that temple, which we know it was destroyed in 70 AD, 30 years roughly after crucifixion of Jesus. So this reference to River Jordan is joined to the most great ocean. These are metaphorical, but literally when you look at Sea of Galilee in Israel, today's Israel, previously known Palestine, the River Jordan flows down this vale, this valley, and comes to the Dead Sea. Now, there is no outlet for it to go. All of a sudden, this river that is giving life to the people, literally, agriculture, farming, all that, all of a sudden reaches the Dead Sea and it has nowhere to go. So this is, whenever you stop motion, it's death. So it's symbolic of that too. It evaporates and the salt is left there, and that's why people can float without any effort in the Dead Sea. So that Sea of Galilee, which was close to where Jesus came from, now Baha'u'llah says the River Jordan is joined to the most great ocean. So now the source of it is not just the Sea of Galilee, a small sea, but this huge revelation, the Bahai revelation, which has over 20,000 tablets. Now this most great ocean is connected to River Jordan, symbolic of giving life. So Baha'u'llah continues by saying, say, look, the Father is come, and that which ye were promised in the kingdom is fulfilled. This is the word, capital W, which the Son, Jesus, concealed. You remember he said, I have yet many things to say, but you cannot bear them now. So Baha'u'llah is saying, this is the word which the Son concealed. When to those around him he said, ye cannot bear it now. And when the appointed time was fulfilled and the hour had struck, the word shone forth above the horizon of the will of God. Beware, O followers of the Son, Christians, that ye cast it not behind your backs. Take ye fast hold of it. Better is this for you than all that ye possess. Verily he is nigh, near, unto them that do good. The hour which we had concealed from the knowledge of the peoples of the earth and of the favored angels has come to pass. Say, verily he has testified of me, Jesus testified of him, and I do testify of him, Jesus. Indeed, he has purposed no one other than me unto this beareth witness every fair-minded and understanding soul. That's when, you remember, Jesus said, but when the Comforter is come, whom I will send unto you from the Father, even the Spirit of truth, which proceedeth from the Father, he shall testify of me. So, Baha'u'llah will testify, or the promised one will testify of Jesus. And that's exactly why Baha'u'llah says, that's him. Baha'u'llah says, O conquerors of bishops, in the same tablet, ye are the stars of the heaven of my knowledge. My mercy desireth not that ye shall fall upon the earth. You remember that prophecy by Jesus? Jesus said in the book of Matthew, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of heavens shall be shaken. Jesus didn't say the stars may fall. There is no condition. Jesus says shall fall. And that's what Baha'u'llah says. Baha'u'llah says, my justice, however, declareth, this is that which the Son has decreed. Jesus ordered this, decreed it, signed it, sealed it, and it will be delivered. And whatsoever has proceeded out of his blameless, his truth-speaking, trustworthy mouth can never be altered. That's why Jesus was the God. When the word comes out of God's mouth, it's done. He said, shall, the stars shall fall. And they did. The bishops, the priests, they failed to recognize Baha'u'llah. Baha'u'llah continues by saying, the bells verily peal out my name and lament over me. But my spirit rejoiceth with evident gladness. The body of the loved one yearneth for the cross, and his head is eager for the spear. We note the reference to Christ. His head eager to be on the spear is a reference to third Imam of Islam, Imam Hussein. After he was beheaded, his head was impaled on a spear and taken all the way to Damascus, today's Syria. In the path of the All-Merciful. So he's making two references, because Baha'u'llah was, we all know he was the fulfillment of many promises. The fifth Buddha, Shah Bahram for Zoroastrians, the glory of God by Christ. And the return of Imam Hussein in Shiite Islam. So in the path of, this is referencing to those prophecies. I never passed a tree, but mine heart addressed it, saying, oh, would that thou wert cut down in my name, and my body crucified upon thee. So just like Jesus, he also wished for martyrdom. So Baha'u'llah starts at this point in the book of the most holy tablet. Now this is his Beatitudes. Baha'u'llah says, blessed are the slumberer who is awakened by my breeze. It's no longer shall inherit the earth. It's no longer in future. Now it is in present. So he's the fulfillment of those blessed verses from Christ. Blessed the lifeless one who is quickened, not shall be, who is quickened through my reviving breaths. Blessed the eye that is solaced by gazing at my beauty. Blessed the wayfarer who directeth his steps towards the tabernacle of my glory and majesty. Blessed the distressed one who seeketh refuge beneath the shadow of my canopy. Blessed the sore athirst who hasteneth to the soft flowing waters of my loving kindness. Blessed the insatiate, not easily satisfied, not satisfied at all, soul, who casteth away his selfish desires for love of me, and taketh his place at the banquet table which I have sent down from the heaven of divine bounty for my chosen ones. Bless the abased one who layeth fast hold on the cord of my glory, and the needy one who entereth beneath the shadow of the tabernacle of my wealth. The original tablet, the tabernacle, actually the word for it is tent, but tabernacle is a more befitting word here. Blessed the ignorant one who seeketh the fountain of my knowledge, and the heedless one who cleaveth to the cord of my remembrance. Blessed the soul that has been raised to life through my quickening breath, and has gained admittance into my heavenly kingdom. Blessed the man whom the sweet savors of reunion with me have stirred and caused to draw nigh unto the dayspring of my revelation. Blessed the ear that has heard, and the tongue that has borne witness, and the eye that has seen and recognized the Lord himself in his great glory and majesty, invested with grandeur and dominion. Blessed are they that have attained his presence. Anytime you read the writings, you have attained his presence, according to Baha'u'llah. Blessed the man who has sought enlightenment from the day star of my word. Blessed he who has attired his head with the diadem of my love. Blessed is he who has heard of my grief and has arisen to aid me among my people. My people, all people of the world. Peoples of the world. Blessed is he who has laid down his life in my path and has borne manifold hardships for the sake of my name. Blessed the man who, assured of my word, has arisen from among the dead to celebrate my praise. Blessed is he that has been enraptured by my wondrous melodies and has rent the veils asunder through the potency of my might. Blessed is he who has remained faithful to my covenant, and whom the things of the world have not kept back from attaining my court of holiness. Blessed is the man who has detached himself from all else but me, has soared in the atmosphere of my love, has gained admittance into my kingdom, gazed upon my realms of glory, quaffed the living waters of my bounty, has drunk his fill from the heavenly river of my loving providence, acquainted himself with my cause, apprehended that which I concealed within the treasury of my words, and has shone forth from the horizon of divine knowledge, engaged in my praise and glorification. Verily, he is of me. So the last slide is from Shoghi Effendi, and this is, I posted this on Facebook. I thought it was sort of connected to what we just went over. As material affairs go from bad to worse, and you see it day by day in the world, the confidence, optimism, love, and hope of the believers will, by force of contrast, shine out as an ever brighter beacon, leading the people to the path of truth, the way laid down by God, which alone can guide them to the promise of the future. So by distinguishing ourselves from the old world order in all manners, whatever it is, our personal lifestyle, our community lifestyle, in our jobs, all that, you will stand out and people will be curious as what it is that distinguishes you from the next person. Any comments, questions? Please feel free to. Did I put you guys to sleep? So, I'm sorry. But there's a lot of symbolism in the Baha'u'llah's writings and revelation. And it is, when you read it fast, they sound poetic, but they are not poetic. They're actually fulfilling a lot of prophecies, thousands of prophecies. It's incredible. So anybody to say, somebody who spent 40 years in exile and imprisonment, anybody says that this person, there was no internet back in the day. There was very limited access. You couldn't even travel from where you were to a city that theology was taught at the time of Baha'u'llah was Baghdad. They used to send their children from Iran to Baghdad for theology study. He never did. So anybody to say this was a conspiracy, you know, he was well educated, and which now some of the enemies of the faith are posting online, you know, he researched through all that and he wrote these to say I'm the fulfillment. They have to be statistically wrong. So there are a lot. This is just one tablet out of 13,000 tablets attributed to Baha'u'llah, and there is more coming up, and there are more of them being sent to the Holy Land from old believers, their family. They kept them for many generations. Now, finally, they are letting loose. Thank God, they are letting loose of some of those tablets, and they are still pouring in from all parts of the world, because most of them were scattered after the persecutions, and they kept these tablets as good omen and good blessings in their family. It's understandable. Yes?
You're saying that the tablets are letters, correct? That Baha'u'llah wrote to individual believers in direct response to questions that they had?
Questions or requests or what have you. Sometimes it was a recognition of somebody's service.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so they're estimating how many of these are written?
At least 13,000 by Baha'u'llah alone.
10,000?
13.
Oh, 13.
13,000. About 300 of them can be a book. Kitab-i-Iqan, the Book of Certitude, is one tablet by itself. There is a Kitab-i-Badi which is not translated into English. It's twice as long as Kitab-i-Iqan. That's one tablet. It's addressing the covenant breakers. And so these are all, about 300 of them can be books. And now you have all these 13,000 more. Totally about 20,000+ between the Bab, 6-year ministry, Baha'u'llah, 40-year ministry, and thousands from Abdul Baha and Shohi Effendi, the Guardian. So this is the night that shall not be this is the day that shall not be followed by night in the Bible. Yes?
What is the prospect of these being actually published and available to the believers?
Right now there's about maybe 5% of the writings have been translated into English. But as we get more well-grounded translators, you can sit and translate. This is no problem.
Right.
You know, I can translate some of these tablets, but if I'm not well-grounded, it's not going to come out the way it should be. As we've seen, a lot of the tablets, like Book of Some Answered Question, was translated not by Shohi Effendi. Now the House of Justice is revising it. It was great translation, don't get me wrong, but there are certain points that, so in future when generations of Baha'is are educated from Baha'i schools, raised up, not like us, not our generation, because we've never been educated in any kind of Baha'i school, just simple Sunday school. Eventually, when there is deeper understanding of the meaning, because you have to have an understanding of the meaning of the words that you translate. A very simple example of it is, let's say in the Bible, the first book of John, you remember? It says, in the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. Every time that in the beginning, the Word in the book of John, this is translation into English, but Jesus spoke Aramaic. I'm sorry, I know some of you have repeated this many times to make the point. In Aramaic, Jesus said the word milta. Milta, the accurate translation into English is manifestation. So, if you translate the book of John accurately, after 2,000 years, we are well grounded, we understand it better. So you can say in the beginning was the manifestation of God. The manifestation was with God, the manifestation is God. So there is a lot in the translation that,
Didn't Baha'u'llah say that every letter of Scripture has 70 meanings? Is it 70 or 72? I think it's 70.
70.
Yeah. So, I mean, what a challenge. And the Spirit, the Holy Spirit.
Yes, 70 is symbolic in the Arabic linguistics, symbolic of infinite.
Yeah.
Are the translations done at the World Center?
Well, the translators are all over the world. There are, to the best of my knowledge, there is only one person that I know and I revere, Dr. Nader Saidi, that translates beautifully. It's authoritative as far as I'm concerned. There are many that claim they are translators, and with all due respect to them, when you put them side by side to the original, the translation is riddled with errors. So we have to be very careful what we see online. When it says provisional, you have to read it carefully. And they do. In all fairness, they say it's provisional translation. When I translate something, I say provisional translation done by me. So it's not to be confused by authoritative, because authoritative goes through a lot of different committees and approval of the House of Justice. It's a lengthy process.
So that's why it's so slow.
Yes, that's exactly why Hanley brought up.
Maybe hundreds of years.
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't surprise me.
Long process. And the Holy Spirit, has to be active during a translation. So it's a very challenging thing to do.
Even the Quran, you can see many translations from the Quran, but they're all different. Sometimes you can tell they're scared of translating it. The translators are scared of translating it accurately because it has certain results, such as Muhammad himself said, there shall be messengers from God in the Quran. When it is said in the Quran at the time of Noah, Adam, or Moses, the translators have no problem translating that same exact sentence correctly. But when it is said at the time of Prophet Muhammad, they say, if there come messengers, because they are scared of the consequences.
And even people who are expert in Arabic, equally expert, are going to possibly translate a word differently. They won't all be in agreement. There's this kind of judgmental thing about translations that how do you feel about it, and that's what shows up.
Language is very fluid. I'm 57. I left Iran when I was 18. I came to the United States. Now when I read the Persian that is used in Iran, it's different than the Persian when I was growing up. Imagine the Persian that Baha'u'llah revealed the writings. Baha'u'llah revealed them in Arabic and Persian both. Was 60-70% Arabized. Much more Arabic words in it. Now the trend is Iranians are trying to integrate more original Persian words. And that's fine too.
Yeah, wow.
So it's fluid. Now you have to, kind of be aware of all those certain words in English. 50 years ago, the word gay meant joyous. Now it means something different. So all these things are fluid. You have to be aware of all that. Larry, did you have something?
I've just come to follow up with that. When these are originally written down, coming from Baha'u'llah,
yes,
they're written down by, I'm sure he has
amanuenses, yes, secretaries.
Secretaries.
There were several of them. They wrote them down because they would bring the ink and the reed. They would shave it out of the reed, the pen, and they would write it so fast. People could hear the noise of it from distance, and they would break the reed and they would grab another one and read on big, large piece of paper. They couldn't write fast enough, so there would be 3 of them, 2-3 of them most of the time. And then at the end, they would take it back to Baha'u'llah, and Baha'u'llah would correct them. Now, if you look at the picture of those, the way they were taking them down, it would be like this. They would be writing so fast, and you look at it, it looks like scribble. I have samples of it on my flash. I'll be glad to show it to you. But then, afterwards, they would sit down, and they couldn't remember what they scribbled down. So they would take it to Baha'u'llah, and Baha'u'llah would correct it and read it. And there is one person right now living in Jacksonville that can look at that scribble. He's authorized by the House of Justice to read that scribble and write it in the original, and that's Mr. Ashji Sr. He's the only one that I'm aware of. There might be another person out there, but so there's a lot of this. These are very precious. They're preserved for eternity. Yeah, the revelation of the Bab was very fast too. The same people that witnessed the revelation of the Bab, he would reveal 5,000 verses in one day sometimes. The same persons, when they saw Baha'u'llah, they said Baha'u'llah's revelation was even faster. That whole book of certitude, that you cannot find a single contradiction in it. That whole book of certitude was revealed in a span of 48 hours. But it wasn't 48 hours of non-stop revelation, because people have to stop, including the manifestation of God. They have to eat, they have to go to bathroom, they have to do their routine, they have to sleep, rest, they have to get up. So the total length of time for that book of certitude was 4 hours. And it was rewritten by Abdul Baha afterwards, and within like a couple of days, then they handed it back to the cousin of the Bab that came, the uncle of the Bab that came asking questions about the Bab, because he was saying the Bab was just my nephew. He was just a regular kid, a kid, even though he had shown a lot of miraculous things. So that's how that book went back. His 2 sons, as soon as they read it, they became believers. He became a believer too, but not as fast as his sons. It's very miraculous. The revelation is very fast. You remember in the Quran it says Kawthar, means abundant river. It's all prophecies to this abundant river. In the book of Genesis, all those rivers, 4 rivers mentioned, they all mean abundant. These are all prophecies for the day of the Lord, when the Lord comes, when the glory of God in Revelation 21-23 that will come. These are all fulfilled by this. Because no human being is capable. I don't care if you spend from the moment you are born till you die. You live to be 75 years old like Baha'u'llah, or 74. If you write all these, you will have errors, contradictions, but you cannot find a single contradiction yet in the writing. If there was, the enemies of the faith would post it online. They spend millions. I'm coming.